Hello fellow gaijins, welcome back to the Japanese Basics for Beginners series. In the last episode I said this episode would be a practice episode, but I decided against that because we need some preparation before we can really dive into reading the manga I want to read with you guys. Because of that, this will be a very short episode where we look at some new vocabulary that is needed for you to understand the dialogues in the manga itself, and also at some new grammar that I think is super important and that you shouldn't miss on before you go into practicing reading and talking and other stuff like that. And I want to look at two different grammar topics that I think are super important because they will come up anywhere. So if you read manga articles or anything else, these two grammar topics will probably come up. So I want to cover them before we go into a lot of practice lessons and stuff like that. Now let's look at the vocabulary that is needed to understand the few pages that we will read in the next practice lesson. 女、女、女の人、女の人、女の子、女の子、男、男、男の人、男の人、男の子、男の子、もう、もう、すぐ、すぐ、もうすぐ、もうすぐ、すごい、すごい、お店、お店、いっぱい、いっぱい、not おっぱい、お祭り、お祭り、夏、夏、危ない、危ない、降る、降る。Now you might have noticed that the first 6 words are super similar, and that's because onna no hito, for example, are 2 words put together. Onna means woman. Onna no hito, this would be an adult woman. Hito means person, right? So onna no hito is just hito and onna, those 2 words, connected by the particle no. And this is usually only used for grown-up women, so for adults. Onna no ko is exactly the same. Ko is the word for child. Usually one would use kodomo, but ko is very often used when you put it together with another word by using the no, as done in this case. So onna no ko and otoko no ko are girl and boy respectively. Now if you're talking to a person and you use only the word onna without no hito, it is super rude, so try to avoid that. Use onna no hito or otoko no hito when you are addressing somebody or you are talking about somebody else. You might have noticed that omise and omatsuri have both an o at the beginning. Now this o is actually not really needed. Matsuri and mise are standalone words and the o just makes it a little bit more polite or just more beautiful. So you could just say mise and it would still mean shop. So the o is not needed and it's not part of the word, but it makes the word more beautiful. Many girls especially, but in general, people use o in front of words to make them more beautiful. Sometimes go has to be used depending on what word it is. So for example, chui, which means careful, has a go in front of it in most cases. So gochui. If you see gochui kudasai, it just means be careful please, but you could also just write chui kudasai, so the go is not needed. The 2 grammar topics I want to talk about today are really easy and quickly explained, so I will not take too much time explaining them. So in episode 10, you learned the te form. The te form is an imperative form, so it's usually used to tell somebody what they should do or to ask somebody to do something for you. Now there is another form that is even more important that uses the te form. It's the present continuous form. So I am doing, I am eating, I am looking, I am watching. All those verbs use the te form. But it's not just the te form, it's the te form plus the verb iru. That's actually all there is to it, and it's really easy to form. You just use the te form and you add iru at the end, you have present continuous form. If you take taberu as an example, you take the te form and you add iru at the end. So it's tabete iru. This just means I am eating. Ima tabete iru. Right now, I'm eating. Ima terebi o miteiru. Terebi means television and it comes from televi, terebi. Ima terebi o miteiru. You can do this exactly like this with all the verbs. So if you have sumu, which means to live, and you want to say I'm living here right now, you can just say koko ni sundeiru. You take the te form, which is sunde, and add iru. One thing I want to address real quick is that many Japanese people just leave the I away when they pronounce this. So instead of tabete iru, they just say tabeteru. So they don't say the I in the iru. This is a very common practice when talking informally, and it's just done by everybody. Now, if you want to do this in a formal way, you would say tabete imasu. So when you make the iru formal, the whole thing becomes formal. Now that's all there is to it, and you will see this all the time in the practice lessons we will have, so try to remember this well. The next topic is connecting adjectives. What does connecting adjectives actually mean? I want to start by looking at an English sentence. In the little homework sentence I had for you last time, we had to connect the two words small and narrow. So the house is small and narrow. Now you cannot use to because this is only used with nouns. So in this case, you kind of have to make the te form of the adjectives. This only applies to I adjectives though. So if you take chisai, you take the I away and you add ku. Now this is the adverb form, right? We looked at adverbs before. To make it into a te form kind of adjective, you add the te at the end and you have a te form adjective. Now I do this because I've never really read about adjectives in te form, but I see it like this because I don't really use this form in any other context. I only use it when I really put two adjectives together, so I don't think it's too important what you call it, but it's easier to remember it that way, I think. So chisakute. So you take the I away and add kute, right? You can do this also with semai. If you want to say it's narrow and small, semakute chisai. Now the second word, if you don't add any more at the end, is just in normal form. So you don't put this in te form or anything else. You only put it in te form when an adjective is following. If you look at an adjective, it's even easier. You take the normal form of the adjective and then you add de in between the adjectives. So kirei de semai. It's beautiful and narrow. That was everything I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot from this episode. And like I said, in the next episode, we will practice stuff by reading a manga. Now, we will obviously not read the whole manga, but we will read the first few pages and analyze everything that is said there. I'm really looking forward to reading, building new sentences, analyzing stuff, and just in general, practicing with you guys. So if you like this series and you want to support it, consider leaving a like and also commenting maybe feedback or suggestions you have. It would really help out the series and the channel in general. Thank you so much for watching and for the support. I will see you in the next one.